Subway's now slicing their meats fresh. Try a new deli hero from the Subway series and taste the difference for yourself.
The LCS Challengers League is brought to you by Turo, the world's largest car-sharing marketplace. Find your drive.
Hello, and welcome back into the LCS Challengers League. We're here for the promotion for the spring of 2024, and we have a 2-1 lead for the upset team of LiT Esports, 1 game away from cementing their spot in the Challengers League in 2024. And I just want to look at some of the replays from that last game because this team is just, there's something else. I don't know what is up with them at this promotion tournament, but they are scrappy, they're chaotic, they're fun to watch, and it just looked so good from them, Eric.
Yeah, it looked actually incredible. I had my criticisms about Quacker's placement on the equalizers, which early on didn't look that good. But the moment they were actually able to get some of that together, it looked like a tougher fight coming in. And still, LiT Esports able to triumph despite all that because of the positioning that you get out of both messages, out of both Rock Boom, the way they're able to position on the map, and take some of the gutsiest plays I've ever seen. I mean, you saw that face check with messages.
This is the big one for me, right? Where messages and all real purposes should have died your cubby.
This was really nice, and I think messages, I mean, shout out to him. Like, he's the one playing the Jace and executing it really well, but I also want to give Kizno some love, you know? This is a revenge game for him. I feel like we've talked more about his teammates than Kizno, and Kizno's going up against an ERL jungler in music, someone that a lot of players do have respect for in the space, and I thought Kizno on the Malachi, but he got to go full AP that game. It was correct, and he played it really well. There were a lot of moments where I think his ults were fired at the right times. He took some good fights, and you could see how much chip damage that they were able to do to this all-in comp before they were able to go in. A lot of that's because Kizno was setting up in the right place at the right time, setting up early, made a big difference in this game.
Yeah, and you can see the damage, right? That he had the second most damage on his team right behind messages. Yeah. Both of them were doing so much. We've been focusing so much on Rock Boom, too, and it almost felt like Supernova were like, fine, we're going to focus on Rock Boom. And then Kizno and Messengers are like, this is our time to shine. Nobody's focusing on us anymore. Now it is our turn to be the heroes for the team. And they did so to get them within match point, 1 game away from qualifying for the Challengers League. Such an awesome story to see from them. But before we get into Game 4 and find out whether or not they will cement that spot or if Supernova can drag us into a Game 5, we do have our Subway halftime refresh. And this game I like to call the unfair game show with Magical. There is a twist on this.
Unfair.
Yeah, this is different than the unfair quiz show.
So the quiz show is usually about like the past, you know, trying to get more of the history of the players, while the game show is about the last game we just watched. Okay. So it is going to be questions regarding what we have witnessed. I have pictures to go along with this to kind of help show everyone what we have in store. So are you both ready for this?
Yeah, I'm just
as ready as I can be. Not really. In fact, let's cancel the game show. I'm done.
It's too bad. You don't get to decide these things. This is not up to you. This is up to me. And I say that we keep going. So let's go into question 1, just so we can jump right into this. You ready? Good. All right. Who completed the first item of the game?
Like first full item?
Like a Doran's Blade?
First full item.
Sketch.
Okay.
See, this is where things get grim again. Music?
Okay, we got Sketch, we got music. It is Sketch. Sketch completed the Kraken Slayer first. He was the first one to get the item. It was actually kind of surprising because we did see that play where Rockboom was able to move around early on and was able to get that kill and assist, but...
Yeah, but Sketch also got that wave in, and that's what got him this Kraken Slayer. Yep. And also, there are no components. I remember they took a play into the Kraken Slayer that they lost, so that was critical. He was able to finish that first.
And my guess was music because I knew he got like 2 kills early on.
Yeah.
So I was just like, maybe.
It was good. It was a good guess.
That's a good guess. It's a good guess. It's just, it was, I think, a little bit more expensive too. So unfortunately, I wasn't able to get that. So now let's get into the second question. Since this game was kind of wild, right? We had a very wild game. A lot of kills, honestly, in this game. So by the time that turret plates had fallen, how many kills did each team have?
Each team? Jesus, this is unfair. Yeah. How am I going to remember that?
hell?
Somebody has 8 for Supernova and 7 for LiT.
Okay.
throwing out some numbers, guys.
7
There are
and 8,
52
7 and
games
8.
in 29 minutes. That 52 kills in 29 minutes. That
Okay.
game. So
Wait. Had fallen by the time the turret plates up, so 14
14
minutes.
at
Yes,
14.
14
Yeah.
minutes.
I'll
8-7.
say 4 and
4 for who?
3.
4 for who? 4 for who?
No, 8 and 3. Excuse me.
8 and 3 for-
8 for Supernova.
And 3 for LiT. Okay. Well, Eric got it right. It is 3 for LiT
Whoa.
and 8 for
Hey,
Supernova.
I had Supernova at 8, but that's
Yes, you
OP.
did.
That's
Yeah.
wow. How did
Yeah.
you guys? Wow, that's really impressive.
Well done, Eric. Good job on that
Damn,
one.
Eric.
Yes. Yeah, if you keep in mind, remember, a lot of those early plays were favoring Supernova. They had, just right before this, they had the play where they got the kill top lane, then the kill mid lane, and then the 2 kills in the bot lane, pretty much right at the same time, back to back to back. So it was where Kisno was kind of like, oh, all my lanes just died. What's going on? You know? So unfortunate for that moment. But we already know what the result of the game was. So let's get into an important factor of that game. At around the 16-minute mark, who had the most gold in the game?
16 minute mark.
Around the 16-minute mark.
I'm gonna guess messages because first strike's OP.
Okay. Because first strike. Eric, what about you?
I'm gonna guess Sketch. I got no
Sketch.
reason.
No reason. Well, you're both wrong on that one. It was Rock Boom. Remember, this was right after that big play had happened in the mid lane where they were able to get these huge wins around Rift Herald 2. So they were actually able to pretty much spoon feed Rock Boom at that point and make it so the Caitlyn was a big threat for the team. Yeah, you guys are not doing so well. 1 point for each of you. 1 point for each.
That's part of the title of the show. Yeah, that's unfair. Yeah.
You guys were watching the game, right? I feel like you guys should know what's going on if you're watching it.
I'm gonna get you back, Alex. I'm gonna get you back.
all right. Let me give you a gimme point. All right. So
What?
Kisno got a solo kill. Who did he solo kill? This is a free point. This is a free point.
Who did he solo kill?
Yeah.
Trevor.
Okay.
I don't know what the answer is. I'm just gonna guess support.
I actually don't know what the answer is to. I'm gonna guess.
Man, these guys.
So I'm gonna
tell
go.
you.
I'm gonna go with a wild guess. I remember there's a fight where Robbie Bob was getting chased away. He didn't take damage for a while, and then Kisno's ultimate hit him at the very end of it. So I'm gonna go with Robbie.
Ding, ding, ding. It was Robbie Bob. It was towards the tier 2 in the top lane inside the jungle where Kisno had actually found out Robbie Bob and was able to get a lot of damage.
Right.
So
That was in the brush.
Bobby
yeah.
had
brush.
no ult.
Yep. Man, Cubby, you're failing this time. What's going on, man?
They gave you a pity point
Yeah,
too.
this was supposed to be the easy one.
All right, I need to regroup.
Yeah.
Give me a sec. This might be the last. This is my last cast of the year. It's my last chance to win shows, and I'm failing.
Yeah.
Like the failure I am.
Let me just check the time that we have. Okay, we have enough time. So let's get into question number 5.
Bring it together. Yeah. What do we got?
Who was the first player to build their 4th completed item?
Messages is cheaper build than 8.
Yes, that is true. But what if I say that at this point in the game, Kisno had the most kills?
It's fine.
Okay.
Jungle's not as powerful. Like the thing that Riot's always been biased against, monsters. Minions greater than monsters, always. All right.
Okay.
Jungle.
So,
yeah.
Eric, what about you?
That's what I think. Let's just go with Rock Boom.
Rock Boom.
No reason.
All right. Well, the answer is indeed Messages. Messages had completed the Spear of Sojin. Cubby, you have tied up the game. You've brought it back.
Keep it moving.
We got to keep it moving.
Another question.
Yeah, the last question. It's the last one. We're going straight into it.
Come on.
So, only one player kept their Baron buff from Supernova's Music's Steel. Who was that player?
That was.
Which player kept the Baron buff after Music stole Baron?
Whacker.
Whacker.
No. Trevor. It was Trevor.
I don't know, Chad. He said Trevor.
It's Trevor.
Did you say Trevor or Quacker first?
Say Trevor, Eric. We can tie. I'm gonna bring you with me.
He said Quacker. I said Trevor.
So
but it was Trevor. The answer is
this
Trevor.
is the question.
The answer's Trevor.
Do we punish Cubby we're jumping the gun and saying Quacker first. I think yes. So that means
Absolutely,
that Eric,
it's the unfair game.
Eric wins the game. It was indeed Trevor. He died at the Nexus, so he did eventually lose it. But Eric, you're the winner. Woo! Congratulations. Get us
What do I win?
You get us into the game 4. That is what you get, and you win. You get to bring us the treat that is this 4th game.
That's the prize? Well, you know what? That's a damn good prize, man, because I'm ready for this game number 4. I mean, it's match point right now. We talked about it during game 3. LiT has had a pretty big story to get here, going from the 6th seed, and they went undefeated in the last 2 games. Supernova gave them their first loss, but even with that happening, they are now just one win away from making it in.
I'm going to drop my own ego and frustration at myself to get us into this game 4, Eric. As I gotta say, side swap here. Supernova now going for the blue side. My eyes immediately on the Azir and then the Maokai. Playing Maokai Jace itself. Okay, Maokai is going to be taken off the board. I don't think we're going to see Messages get Azir again. So if Supernova want to maybe first pick an Azir, that is an option they can go with. It's not Robbie Bob's best champion, but Robbie Bob can play a lot of things, and Azir is definitely one of them. So that could be a denial that we look for. If not, we're going to see a Azir ban here, as that has been what Supernova's done every game but the first one, where Messages dominated on that pick.
Yeah, typically their bans following up this is Azir and then Kindred to be taken away. Given that they're on the blue side this time, this might shake up a little bit, and we're already seeing a touch of that as they'll take away the old blind Darius that Jaden loves to
They
play.
did do this in game 1. They denied the Darius. So if they want to take away Azir here, that is an option. If not, of course, that first pick is kind of like a 4th ban. So it could be first picked here.
See if they want to go for that. For now, it's just been mostly about the jungle bans. We've been seeing a lot of those come through. And I mean, rightfully so for LiT. They do want to get music on some level of discomfort, not allowing them, both the Maokai and the Kindred. The Maokai a little less so, but the Kindred is definitely a big one. The ban comes in, that long range that LiT were just abusing in game 3. Not going to be on the map. Caitlyn gets banned.
Well, we could see Sejuani Silas into an Azir, or we just see Azir picked up right here. I think that's what it boils down to, really.
I was just entertained by the fact that signature champs are banned away on both sides with Darius and the Olaf. But you said it, Supernova, they're leaving the Azir up. It's too good in the hands of Messages. Take it.
I really think that is the play. And honestly, I'm curious if LiT decide to play the Silas and the Sejuani into the Azir themselves. That is an option if they want to go for that with Messages, of course. Jace still something that Messages could do, but with no Maokai, it's going to have to be an Ivern then, which would be a little bit of a different approach for LiT. You haven't seen Kisno pilot the Ivern yet. They don't seem like a team that has a lot of priority around the Ivern. So, yeah. It is a very different approach, of course, as actually going to see some control out of the mid lane. So it will be a Talia.
Okay, Talia was a little bit more popular last year. We didn't get to see too much of her this year. Every now and then sprinkled in, but going to have that locked in for the mid lane. And one of the great things about Talia is that Weaver's Wall does allow you to first control the map a little bit more if you want to roam up top, roam up bottom, and have an impact with that map. Usually you want to take some sort of jungler that can influence that. Next pick coming out for LiT Esports. Instead, they're going to play some long range engages with the Enchanted Crystal Arrow. Ashe gets locked in.
Oh, okay. Now, technically, this is something that could be flexed to support with Flux, but not expecting to see that. Rock Boom, kind of curious about that pick. Maybe wanting to prevent something like Azir Kaisa from coming out. Also, Azir Sivir, something that I would expect Sketch to be able to pilot. You don't really love to play Sivir into Ashe, but that is something that Sketch may be looking at and saying, hey, this is the pick. Now, a lot of my eyes actually go towards Alistar. As Alistar is a very good pick into Sivir. I also like the pairing with Ashe because you can slow people down to set up the combo. And it's something that, I don't know if I've seen Plux play it a lot. It seems like he likes Leona instead of the Alistar. But something I'm expecting. Also, expecting to see a Rel here from Supernovas. They could deny that too.
Rel could be locked in. Trevor does play a lot of the Alistar you were mentioning. Instead, not going to go for the support lock-in. It's the Nocturne. So music's going to be playing this one. We'll have some influence on the map. One of the best things that I love about Nocturne is his ultimate. Yeah, it blinds them, but it stops them from using teleports as well. If they don't have any sight onto a ward, it's hard to actually get into a fight and do anything when a Nocturne's ulting across the map.
And we actually saw Music use that mechanic in Supernova's first match against Winthrop. So that's an interesting one. We actually have a Yone picked up. Is this going to be jungle Talia? That's it. I mean, right now there's a lot of flexibility for LiT in their draft. Yeah, it could be the Yone into the Azir. It could be Yone top. With Talia mid, Talia can go mid or jungle. We haven't seen Talia jungle in a long time, but LiT showing some unique things here as technically everything they've picked, I think, can be played in multiple roles if we include the Ashe too. So LiT really hiding a lot of their cards moving to the next phase of draft. And frankly, if they are banning stuff like Gwen and maybe even a Renekton, they could be setting up for a Cassante top 4 Dragoon.
I'm very curious as to what these lane assignments are going to be, because looking at the history of Kisno, at least in competitive, hasn't played Talia in the jungle, at least thus far. So this leaves a lot of questions. I really want to know the lane assignments.
This is wild, man. I'm really interested to see what LiT does from here, because this is quite the puzzle that they've presented. I still really want to advocate for Alistar. I think Alistar is still a very strong pick with everything that LiT's showing as Camille's taken out. I mean, Camille tells me they're still going to look for a top laner because Yone, I think, does actually decently well into Camille. Either that or I'm a complete noob because I got stomped in that matchup in solo queue the other day. Camille and the Yone wasn't very fun.
You didn't have to let him know. You could have just hit that.
No, we sometimes you have to take an L to make sure the story. I have some evidence for that one, you know. I tested it. Malphite taken away. I'm telling you, each team's kind of setting up for Cassante here. We'll see if LiT denies it and actually confirms this Talia is going into the jungle. Ooh.
Could be Ornn.
Could be Ornn. Camille, Gwen are good Ornn bans.
Still going around. I mean, Yone, one of the things he provides in the 5v5 is just excellent engage, as you're able to pop that ultimate, try and get the backline, and this would be really good for stopping out both the Azir and the Sivir. You can still play on the longer range side with the Ornn Call of the Forge God. Does go screen away, so that's going to be the lock-in for the top side for Dragoon.
I would like Braum here for Trevor. You can stop the Ornn Horn from the engage, and that would be lacking some engage tools. Also, Braum, you can play that in Alistar pretty easily, and it pairs up pretty well with Sivir, who has increased attack speed. So I would actually really like to see something like Cassante Braum as see if Trevor reads that. No, it's going to be a Bard for Trevor. Wow, okay. I mean, that really does deter something like an Alistar pick. I feel like that is good into Sivir, but Bard absolutely nukes Alistar in the early laning phase. And so I'm interested to see what Pux goes for. You could go Leona. He does kind of prefer Leona. It's not nearly as good in the Sivir as Alistar is, but that is an option. As I expect to see Pux as champ, unless we see an AD here for whatever reason. Okay, gonna be the Heimer. Wow.
That finally does show our lane assignments, and
yeah.
What are you thinking about it? Now we're gonna have Kisno. He's running the Talia, I believe, in the jungle, with a team fight potential coming out from the solo lanes, both the Ornn, Call of the Forge God, as well as messages being on the Yone.
This game's wild, man. I was not expecting this draft coming out of LiT. Yone Talia is a very strong combo. Ornn, you can also provide gank assist for Talia, and that's the big thing for me, is that Talia, every lane she goes towards, just have gank assist. So the ability to get hard CC and then set up the easy flick for Talia, it's there. So I think that this is actually a decently planned out draft from LiT. I'm a little bit concerned, though, for Sivir. If Sivir gets rolling and gets off the ground, it's going to be really tough for LiT, but Ashe Heimer is a very lane-dominant lane, so see if Rockboom and Pux can kind of step up in that laning phase. A little bit of a different strategy for LiT. We've seen Supernova primarily play for early game comps, early game strats in this series. This time feels like the roles are swapped, with LiT going for a little bit more early game, and Supernova taking very good scaling in the Azir plus Sivir.
Get onto the map. You know the role. Go ahead, press SN if you want Supernova to win, or LIT if you want LiT Esports to win.
Yeah, and before we dive into this match, we do have some words from Dragoon about him and his teammates' motivation coming into this OQ.
I don't know. I feel like our motivations to win the split are out of spite, rather than, oh, I want to get into NACL. It's like, wow, there's so much. I can't curse, can I?
We'll bleep it out if we need to.
Okay, well, we've just had a lot of misfortune. I was gonna opt in for a curse word there. That it's like, okay, we just have to win now. Like, it's too cringe if we don't win, you know?
Yeah.
Qualified once, got to do it again, and That was the story. It was a very turbulent offseason between spring and summer, and it resulted in a lot of things. You saw a bit of it in the NACL with a lot of the LCS teams dropping their squads, so it made for an interesting situation with a lot of these players trying to find homes or trying to, pick up new players. And unfortunately for, Dragoon and Kisno, they weren't able to get the better of that trade, didn't get to make it into the summer, so now it's about vengeance. They want to get here.
So a lot of the times we see Heimer set up in the brushes to take advantage of the strength of turrets early. This time we actually saw them setting up to deny walking into lane, but Nocturne's going to do this leashless. So he actually started on the Raptors doing the AoE camps, very strong for Nocturne. And meanwhile, Talia will be wrapping up her clear on the top side. So I'm wondering if we see a 3-camp towards Quacker.
Knockup coming out from messages. As you were worried a little bit about that Sivir, I do want to bring that up a bit more. Over the course of the summer, every game that Sketch was playing Sivir, he didn't lose. In fact, in his whole recorded competitive career, hasn't lost a game on it back when he was playing in Fear.
Oh, wow.
Even when he was on, Evil Genius's Prodigies. This is a really, really comfortable champ in his hands.
That's a fun one. Also, Pax Sivir, one of like the OG old school skins. As Music will get spotted by the Hawk shot, despite trying to skate around it. I did set up for a potential 3-camp topside. Looks like the Talia is going to be working her way bot, as Trevor going to have to burn. Flash here. One more auto would have taken Trevor down. He will live through the burn, but you can see some of that lane priority for the Ashe Heimerdinger already making an imprint there on the bot lane, as we will have Kisno actually skipping over the bot side camps. Look for a gank. He will be spotted.
All right. Teleports are available for Quacker and Robbie if they want to try and stop anything going on here, but that would be a big sack to their lane. Luckily for them, Kisno is not continuing with that dive, so Supernova can breathe a little bit more easier.
I am a bit surprised about that, honestly, as we see Dragoon fortunately missing a few creeps on the top side. Quacker, this is how the matchup goes top. Quacker does have an advantage, so it does have push into the Ornn. It's a little bit tough for the Ornn. Ornn should, I think, rush bombies this matchup. It's kind of a game of cat and mouse between who gets bombies and who doesn't. So we'll see if Cassante matches. Okay, looks like actually it won't be a bombies rush here for Dragoon. Gonna go for the cloth armor instead. So doesn't want to push the lane or lose control over the wave. Gonna take a different item first and trying to stack defenses against the Cassante, who does have a lot of early power in this laning phase.
Now, still looking at the clear of Kisno. I mean, he has everything topside cleared out. He's still hovering around this bottom side river as he grabs the Scuttle Crab. Some pings coming out from the side of Supernova as they are getting some information on what's happening with the camps of Kisno, so potentially understanding where he might be as they do have those deep wards in.
See messages trading very heavily with Diazir, trying to abuse the D shield and what I assume is a second win in the pockets of messages. That will be enough to send him back. And top Supernova, they've done some nice job warding up Kisno's second clear. So they will spot in taking out his respawn Raptors, and they also have a ward on the top side. His message is going to catch Trevor. Knows that he's vulnerable to a dive. I think that messages will stick around, try and outplay this, and Trevor will not commit. That's enough info to keep messages safe, and props to messages for discovering that one.
Yeah, great time to spot it out, and also respect coming out from Supernova, understanding that Kisno was just around that Raptor camp. They did have that ward there, so it was the cue to not go for anything aggressive. As we did see that Hawk shot earlier, this is one of the good things about having Ashe, is you do get a lot of jungler information.
Message is going to lose a couple creeps because Trevor just being a pest on the top side. Trevor Bard, definitely someone that we don't expect to pilot Bard, as I don't really expect any players to be able to pilot Bard right now, but he is someone that we know can play it from Trevor's past. So a couple things we'll be looking out for later. I think that with the Bard uniquely, you can actually chain stuns off the Heimer turrets, which is kind of nice, but a lot of it comes down to those big ultimates, Destruct. See if we can get enough value out of those as Robbie Bob. Ashe is stopped. Nice trade for messages.
Tempered Fate's a fun ultimate. It can be used in so many different ways.
Yeah.
Like, it's very a common strategy, just use it on a tower and go for a tower dive that way, but you can use it defensively. You can use it very aggressively, as we've seen in the past back in the regular season. I forgot who played it, but had some excellent Tempered Fates in the process.
Smoothie.
Smoothie, yes.
Yeah.
And yeah, those add a lot of diversity, a lot of flexibility into the way Supernova can approach some of these fights.
Yeah.
As for the time being, the priority in the bottom lane, LiT get dragged.
I'm gonna be honest, you mentioned Tempered Fate. I was thinking about the Fate Sealed from Yone. I was like, wait a minute. You're not talking about a Yone ult right now. It's Bard. It's the AoE Zhonya's, you know?
I sometimes get mixed up on those ultimates in specific. Always when they kind of have the
Oh,
same
I do for sure. I for sure do.
Like, I think it's, actually, gotta hold that, because Messages is going really hard on the Robbie Bob. Robbie Bob dances around, but Messages follows through. Ultimate pop to get away, and it's first blood for LiT Esports.
I mean, that play was not going to work from Robbie Bob. I could see that one. Robbie Bob couldn't. He doesn't flash away. And if, honestly, he did, he would still get sealed by Messages. So taking too much damage when Messages had that E running, that's going to hurt the Azir. And this counter pick mid already paying off.
A great start coming out for LiT. When they're at the point of this series, match point, one away from getting in the early game, already going in their favor.
And Robbie Bob saving his E here to try and re-engage on the Messages, but he just gets too low from that initial trade. Messages love the preemptive flash. Robbie Bob doesn't react to it, and he ends up going down. Even if he did, could have been followed up by Fate Seal. That might have sealed Messages' fate himself, but he ends up getting the outplay. Robbie Bob gets taken down, and Messages now, he's going to feel really good in this lane.
You can see it. Robbie Bob does have a nice sidestep to get away from some of that damage. Now, the little lull in the action. I'll say the one that always got me, Cubby. It was Frozen Tomb and Glacial Prison. I would mix those up all the time.
Oh, Trevor just threw a Q in there. They think that they're gone, but no, they're gonna go.
No, Enchanted Crystal Arrow lands onto Trevor, and Trevor is dead to rights. Ignite still goes out, so they can return a kill and take down Rock Boom, and that's exactly what Music will do underneath the tower, looking for Plux, and Sketch will be able to take down the Donger.
Music in the right place at the right time, but we'll see if it ends up leading to a Herald here for LiT, as Robbie Bob's going to have to get on out. Messages has priority. It will be plates for the Sivir, but you can see LiT, they're looking as Quacker. He's going to have to flash out of that one, and LiT should start up this Rift Herald.
Swinging a slight lead over to Supernova
Art's
on the last
coming,
plays.
It's going to be
LiT
dangerous.
Esports will look to change that gold lead into their favor with this Rift Herald. Supernova willing to fight for it. Trevor doesn't have his ultimate just yet, so you won't have the Tempered Fate to get some of that team fight control. But Trevor flashing in with the Cosmic Combine, being able to get the root onto Kisno. Kisno falls. 1-for-1 trade, as one's going to get picked up by Quacker. Pushing forward is still LiT. They have a lot of turrets right there, and that's exactly where they want to fight, into that choke point. Going in, it's not good for Music, because the turrets will pop away at the health bars of Supernova.
Catch.
But now here comes Sketch. Plux needs to bail, able to get the stun in. Robbie Bob's low. Flashing forward is going to be Dragoon. He can't even get the kill in the process, and now the kill cleaned up by Sketch. Sketch on his very, very faithful Sivir. He loves this champion, and now he's getting fed on it in game number 4. One more pop of the heal coming out from Trevor to get that movement speed.
No way.
Ultimate comes out into the boomerang blade. Sketch gets the kill.
That's so big for Supernova. The fact that Sketch was able to clean that one up. He has access to the Kraken Slayer already on the Sivir, and it pays off big, as that fight from LiT initially, it was looking good. They were able to take down Music. Messages escaped with no flash, but the back half of it, Robbie Bob escapes with 0 HP. We're going to take another look. So Trevor, he's going to early flash commit to one-tap Kisno. And honestly, I think it's an okay move, just taking this out. Trevor trades his life, but it's trading up if you take out the jungler. Robbie Bob, his scoop doesn't find Plux, so he doesn't get both, and Robbie Bob ends up having to flash away himself, as Messages plays this one really well. Quacker, though, when he ults in, he has to flash out because of the turrets, and these turrets got so much value for LiT in this fight. And this is where things are looking relatively good for LiT, because Robbie Bob, he autos a ward here, and it kind of enables Plux to connect the stun. But Dragoon's out of mana, and they just barely don't have enough damage to finish off Robbie Bob. As he flashes in a Herald 8, the shield catches the damage, and Sketch cleans the rest up.
It was almost in the favor of LiT, but Supernova still have life. They still have fight in them, and they take it over to LiT Esports. Now, that being said,
they got a Herald in their pockets. Look at top.
I was about to say that right there, as They're able to place that down, get more gold over to Sketch. Again, he's so comfortable on this Sivir. He's a late game menace who can destroy team fights.
What?
Here
Trevor?
comes the chase from Music.
Trevor just
looking to find
his
it.
own charge.
And there you go. It should be another one. Dead to rights messages dropped by Music and the swing of potential for Supernova.
Dude, Trevor just, they dropped Herald, and then he prevented his own charge on the turret. He tempered baited his own turret, which Shelly should have been charging. I don't know if Shelly gets a charge off here. That actually means that the turret survives. Like, Shelly can tank up a lot, but they should have had the turret dead to rights by now. It's enabling LiT to actually kind of answer on the bot side as Ashheimer can shove hard, and Quacker doesn't have the wave clear to deal with this.
So much more time there.
Yeah, Supernova, they're going to have to keep on autoing this. There's a lot of defense. They're going to find it, but they do have to spend some bonus time. This is enabling Kizno to actually take that dragon uncontested, so LiT does get 2 dragons off this.
Yeah, Kizno down there on the bottom side. So much time spent by Supernova because of that charge. Not finding its mark. Now Dragon gets secured by Kizno. Quacker, just a little bit of threat. Still a matter of time before Rockboom and Plux take this tower.
See if the Sivir comes to answer. But yeah, they're going to find it on this wave. So LiT at least keeping up with the pace. And hey, 2 dragons and a Hextech soul spawning. That's going to feel really good about that. As the strongest soul in the game, most people argue. I think if you get the Soul Hextech strongest, I think Mountain's the strongest Drake in terms of what I want. But overall, this game, really nice shape right now for LiT. As I think answering that's big. And just keep in mind, I think that it's a bit interesting. First off, we have a Shiv from Ashe, so it's a big focus on wave clear. It's going to definitely decrease the teamfight damage that Ashe is going to be pumping for this game. But they don't want to take a full-on 5v5 against the Azir plus the Sivir. They don't want to play in that range. They want to try and find their picks and kind of play from there. So I think a lot of it's going to be about the setup from Kizno, which we haven't really seen a lot of yet. It's been Music dictating the pace of this game.
No, I've been kind of disappointed. I was expecting a little bit more coming out from the Talia lock-in, especially given how spicy this pick really is.
That's just STP bot.
Now Trevor returning back over to the mid lane. Music's going to back out. This gives a lot of time for Robbie Bob to wail away at this tower, and it's going to force out the TP, as you were mentioning.
Yeah, I like that from Quacker. It's small, but they just guarantee they get the TP there. Messages did finish the Kraken Slayer himself, and it ended up being the Sunfire Rush for the Ornn in this matchup. So Dragoon at this point actually doing okay. He feels okay in this matchup now, because in extended trades, the Sunfire really does add up against Quacker on this Katante.
So we got 20 seconds before the plates do go down, and for the most part, Supernova have found a lot of money over from that top side. Again, that was funneled onto Sketch. Not just the gold, not just the turret plates, but the kills. Currently 3-0 and 2. There's a lot of economy for Sketch right now. Still has that Caulfield's Warhammer alongside his Kraken Slayer working towards his second item.
Yeah, I think this is actually a scary part of the game for LiT, because when Sketch bases for the upcoming Dragon, he's going to be really strong. He's going to have Navori Quick Voids likely finished or very close. As we see Rockboom stepping up, he's in trouble.
Stepping a little too far forward. Might have been Rockboom, but he's able to get underneath the tower. A great knockup find by the Call of the Forge God, looking to kite Music. The turret is there, and it's popping onto Quacker. Quacker forced to bail, but there's the Fate Sealed. Doesn't get it onto Sketch. Now Kizno, Weaver's Wall goes through it, blocks out Quacker from finding an escape, but Quacker, he's all right taking the long road.
LiT fight before Sketch gets a base. I think Sketch is sitting on a lot of gold right now, based on what I saw in his inventory and how much gold he has in the game. So LiT actually hit this timer. Things are okay. If we could have our observers maybe show how much gold Sketch is sitting on, like by hitting X, that might tell a bit of a story. Because he's even in items right now with Ashe, but he's way up in gold. So I think when he bases, he's going to get a full Navori. And it should be a better fight coming out for Supernova off that.
Let's see, he did just take that recall. Unfortunately, we get the gold graph, which game has been close for the most part. Now we get the gold that Sketch has been able to acquire. 6.2k gold.
He was missing about 1k gold in his inventory for that fight, because he had Warhammer, Kraken, and boots. So yeah, I think at the time, and he actually didn't buy anything. So I think he was sitting on about 1k, and he's waiting for a BF sword, which he will have access to for the next fight. It's going to make him very strong coming up here.
And it's a minute 15 before he needs to make sure he hits the map with all those items. get those final purchases in, and try and contest, because you don't want to be in a situation where LiT are dictating what's going to happen on this map. And with Dragon Soul Point being available, and if LiT are able to secure that, then it forces Supernova to a situation where they're going to have to respond to a lot of what LiT are doing instead of making their own plays.
And what I liked about that fight from LiT is that the way that they moved throughout the fight, it made it really tough for Sketch to auto. The Sketch is really fed on this Sivir, and if he is able to free fire down, it's tough. So I think Dragoon, the angle that he took, he's got to be careful about how much damage he lets the Sivir put into him as the frontliner, because Sivir can shred him, especially as this game moves forward, and once Sketch gets what I expect to be a third item LDR. But I think that like with the Heimer, with the Ashe, and the Talia, you can actually make these fights, so it's kind of hard for Sketch to auto, and Supernova has to make space for him, so it's something that Supernova, you know, they weren't the strongest at this year. A lot of the times they played through Quacker on the top side. This game, very much Sketch is going to be a priority, and we'll see if Supernova can step up and get themselves a Game 5 to try and book their ticket back into that Spring Challengers League. That's a nice flash.
That's going to be a flash down before the fight even starts around Dragon.
If they're on a war, they don't know.
Supernova pretty quick to go grab that Rift Herald before the Dragon did spawn to make sure they weren't going to be divided or forced to choose between the two. As the Rift Herald does crash into the tower, it's not going to take it down just yet. Just getting a little priority over to Supernova, which is going to go the way of LiT once they clear this wave. Begin to try and set up into the river. Tempered Fate goes out. A flash is going to be found. Able to use the Hourglass stopwatch. Here comes Call of Forge God looking for the knockup. It's only going to land onto 2, but LiT are finding it over the wall. Able to get a knockup. Here comes Quacker. Able to go all out, but he's grabbing Dragoon. That's a tanky member. And here comes Messages onto the back line. Will cleave them down with the swipe of his sword, and LiT Esports take a lead.
And it's another fight. We're given the positioning. Sketch just wasn't able to auto attack. He was chunked out early in the fight by Kizno. The re-engage took Music too far into the team. Stopwatches were burned by Pux. He was the initial target, so he lives for too long. Watch Sketch in this one. He's already at half health, and he's over this mini wall. So yeah, Trevor, he goes. But the way they play this out, it's stopwatch from Kizno and Pux. Sketch, he's only able to auto turrets, and then Music's too deep. Dragoon fires off a brilliant ult, forces a spell shield out of Sketch. Now Sketch, he can only auto Dragoon. They've already lost their jungler. Dragoon gets pulled away from Sketch, and then he gets picked off by Messages in the back half. You have to play around this Sivir, given how bent she is if you're LiT, and they did so wonderfully in that fight.
Divide and conquer. LiT Esports, beautiful with the plays to take that team fight win, and now it gives them Dragon Soul Point. Let's take a look at the subway damage dealt last fight, and look at how this is still a team that fights together.
Yeah, I mean, you can see how much damage Heimer does. Like, he was in Zanyas and he fell, but Heimer still does so much inanimate damage. What I want to go back to, though, if we can flip to the scoreboard, Messages went for the second item Hull Breaker. And we saw this earlier in the tournament. This, of course, you get more power in the side lane if you are on your own. I'm very curious to see how often Messages groups, because personally, I don't really love this item. I think that LiT are winning team fights right now and playing it really well, but if I am LiT, I understand looking at this game being like, we can't team fight a 0+ Sivir later. So I think Messages very much going for side lane pressure. It's just that it's now. And I need to see if Supernova can really pressure and, you know, force LiT out, see if they can hold on as Rockboom, he doesn't have flash yet. He's dead. Yeah,
makes a good call. He's still... Oh, no. Yeah, his flash was on
he
cooldown.
just got
right
up
there. Only had the ghost. So good pick coming out from Supernova right on the clock.
That's a really good timer from Supernova to hit that, as he just got his flash back up. Dragoon going to go unstoppable to make sure he cannot get scooped back in. That's well played by the Ornn there. And now you can see Messages. He's actually grouping. He will not be spotted if he takes the top wall. Will be spotted as he crosses this brush. He is pinged out. Supernova has knowledge of the Yone. Really trying to push down this mid-outer turret. And won't be enough.
Reset coming in for Supernova. Still got 18 seconds before the Baron comes up, 3 minutes before Dragon comes up, so things to be rather on the low side. LiT are going to be waiting out that timer. Hex Soul is something spectacular to get one of the best Dragons you can have. So letting that bide its time and opening up that situation will be another step to getting into the NACL. As a quick reminder, they're only 1 game away.
I mean, that's a tough one, though, for me. Like, because now you have a Hull Breaker Yone, and Messages... we've been talking a lot about how Sketch has the gold for Supernova. Messages, he's the one that has the gold here for LiT. So you're putting that gold into side lane power, whereas if you win one more team fight as LiT, in theory at the right time, you get the Hextech Soul for yourself. And that can really do a number onto a 0+ Sivir as a damage core, as Flux, he might get caught out. Trevor
Rockboom holding on to the Enchanted Crystal Arrow. Kizno comes in with the Weaver's Wall. Teleport going to be channeled. Dragoon is here. Does bait out the teleport of Dragoon. Now popping the Thrill of the Hunt. Able to get a knock up onto Quacker. Finds it with the double up. Still looking for more with the grenade. Autos ring true. Kizno throwing rocks all over the place. None of them finding the boom onto the dome of Supernova. It's control for LiT in the mid.
It was kind of fun to see that Call the Forge God hit 3, but then have 2 spell shields pop out from the Nocturne and the Sivir. So Dragoon gets kind of stymied on that one, yeah. But hey, they did get Sivir Flash right before this Dragon, so that's now something they can target when that objective spawns, as no summoner spells were burned there from LiT, whereas the Flash burn from Sketch, that's very high valuable for LiT moving forward.
And so far, Supernova, it's been kind of a struggle to find a play onto their terms. It's been back and forth with a lot of these fights. Even though Music did decently with the Nocturne, has been getting some good kills, it's always come at a cost for Supernova. And it's one that's really starting to get more and more gold over to LiT. As they gain control of this topside, Messages going to go into that side lane. You know, you still got a tier 1 to work with, so why not utilize that Hullbreaker?
I mean, I honestly, I'm really happy to see a player using Hullbreaker in a side lane instead of just perma-grouping. It brings me great joy. As we've, unfortunately...
We've kind of seen that.
You know, I don't want to call players out, but...
I'm not, yeah. I know who you're talking about.
Now, there's a player that, you know, if I sneezed, you might know their IGN, who did not do this in their game, that we might see playing tomorrow. And it very much makes me happy to see Messages maybe learning a little bit as, keep warning.
Ooh, realized where they are. Gets caught out. He has a lot of health. Will still use the saves field, but he is dead. And Enchanted Crystal Arrow comes out. Wait, more distance. No, paranoia.
Okay.
Shut down. Found by Music. And now down. One of their key members is going to be LiT Esports.
Kisno's got to be a little bit careful here. Messages will have TP as the Flash is bought. Nice tempered fate there from Trevor. Kisno Flash is one that can look to punish LiT, trying to cut Supernova off. But good job here by Robbie Bob removing those turrets.
Supernova in the mid lane. They're still looking for a fight, and down a man. LiT, this is going to be tough. Dragoon has to hold the line for long. Sketch isn't getting that many autos in through, though. But here comes Robbie Bob. A great scoop up with the Emperor's Divide. Kizno still ringing the rocks in, but he has no more friends, no more teammates. Dragoon sneaks one in, looking to return a kill, but it's not going to be found. Wow. It's a double kill for Quacker, and LiT fall apart at the seams.
That is wonderfully played by Supernova. They starts off with a pick, but the way they manage their health bars in the 5v4 to find everyone from LiT. Messages didn't go for the team fight. Oh, he's going in, really?
Oh, right into 4 by himself. You gotta think about that one a little bit more. If you lose anything else, well,
hold on.
Things are gonna look a bit more grim because Supernova headed towards Baron.
Sketch can spell shield this. Messages, okay, he's not gonna look for the ultimate. Yeah, they're really just trying to make sure that Baron can't be taken. Okay, Messages gonna slow down the base of Sketch. If Sketch can't base, there's no way that Baron can be started. And honestly, Messages slowed it down to a point where maybe LiT were looking to fish around this. I don't think they have spawn timers to actually kick off a Baron, so that's a huge win for Supernova. They get the Dragon, deny the soul, and reclaim the gold lead for themselves off a really big pick in the team fight.
Turret gonna get picked up by LiT Esports. Given the situation, it's a lot going in the favor of Supernova. One of the reasons being, as you mentioned earlier, Messages is on a side lane build, whereas Supernova, they got gold split out all around their carries and these 5v5 scenarios.
Flux is gonna get stunned up. He's dead.
So gonna be another pick. Trevor will get that one with ease. Paranoia goes down, which means no one can really respond to it, and it's allowing Supernova to continue to dance around the purple worm.
You gotta believe that with Sivir plus a 0, they can't hit this. They're gonna get one more ward down. Let's see if they end up walking up. Rockboom, I don't know if he has hawk shots or not to try and scout this, but Kisno, oh, he barely gets out.
Oh, Kisno's able to sidestep. Call the Forge God's gonna come out, but the scoop from Robbie Bob denies LiT any answers to the assault of Supernova.
Eric, we're going to game 5. That's it. This comp is scaled. That's a Baron now. It's gonna be so tough for LiT to get back in this one, and this is a riskier composition from LiT this game. We've seen them play their comps well, but I think that Supernova, with the Sivir and the Azir, what they lost to in game 1, they're using to beat LiT now in game 4, as it's been really, really sound to see them group up as 5 and punish Messages for, and he didn't go for a team fight build, and when you're going up against Nocturne Bar, they can pull the trigger whenever they want. LiT just don't have a way to deal with it.
Yeah, Kizno tries to respond. He has a good sidestep. He had the call of the Forge God set up, but look at Robbie Bob scoop them all.
I mean, Rock Boom lost Flash once, and look at what Supernova's turned that into. They turned it into a team fight win, a Dragon, another team fight win, now a Baron, and Rock Boom still doesn't have access to that Flash. Okay, Trevor.
All right, that's okay. You know, it's just time to casually
gaming.
walk on out. Here comes the paranoia, and Trevor, it was all a bait, man. It was all a ruse. Able to get Kizno to take it, and Sketch will take his life. Plux follows after. A double kill for Sketch.
LiT understands this game's hard, and they're really trying to pull out whatever they can here. Messages, he's going to go down 2.
Biding time, teleport will go through. That's Dragoon who's showing up, but to a corpse of his teammate.
Supernova. I mean, this has been a resounding game from them. It really felt like this game was close, and then Supernova, they just won 2 fights. They've scaled now. Rock Boom, still no Flash. Cupid score, here it comes.
Oh, man. Call of the Forge God goes out, but I'm sorry. There's 5 members that have surrounded your carries. A double kill now picked up for Robbie Bob and Supernova on the cusp of death. They lose this match, they're out of the NACL, so guess what? Just don't lose. Supernova fight back, and now they're in the base of LiT.
I mean, this Ashe just got abused once she lost Flash. I've been really impressed to see Supernova play this one out. They're trying to get the inhibitor. Baron and Power Creeps end up doing it. As LiT going to be on the chase. Again, they're fishing. They know this game's over, but okay.
Getting the most out of this Turo Baron buff as they'll take down a structure over in the bot lane. And now here comes another engage. Kizno will survive by the skin of his teeth, but burn down to music as he goes unstoppable.
I mean, this is something where if you're going to a game 5, I feel like LiT, it's time to go back to the drawing board now. Okay, they get some out of Sketch.
Yeah. You got to take the risky plays. The game feels lost, so if you see an opening, you just got to take it, Cubby.
It's something where, I mean, I respect LiT for going for some of these. Like, I think the game is doomed, so you got to get creative. But, of course, it does end up looking bad on the scoreboard. And Supernova now, I mean, they have a ton of gold in their pockets. And honestly, a lot of momentum going into this game 5. LiT will have side select for game 5, which could end up being a big deal, as I expect to see them go back to blue side. It feels like blue side's been a little bit contested, and Supernova playing the Azir themselves. There's no way they could Azir in game 5, but I feel like this was a nice win to, or nice way to give Supernova an advantage to find a game 4 win. Keep in mind, Robbie Bob, he got solo killed main by Messages, so for him to come back, bounce back out of the massive game that he has like this, really, really good to see out of Robbie Bob here, who, again, we expect at this point, he's played on the big stage quite a bit. You think about Collegiate in Tier 2, so expect to see him, you know, clutch up and not have the moment really get the best of him. It's been nice to see Robbie Bob step up as LiT casually get out of that one.
Nice from Trevor as well. A lot of pressure with these Tempered Fates. He's throwing them out anytime he sees anyone out of position coming from LiT Esports. And it's resulted in Supernova pretty much having guaranteed control of the fights. They can pull the trigger when they want. They have the Bard, they have the Nocturne, and now they continue to deny the Dragon Soul.
All right, well, I think that we're just kind of waiting for the fat lady to sing here, Desrux. Okay. Well,
oh, okay. A little bit of a scenic route thanks to that Hexscape, but Paranoia follows nonetheless. Now, able to get the Emperor's Divide. Messages still fighting it out with Robbie Bob. Call of the Forge God's gonna come out, and Messages is able to get a solo. Finds a shutdown. Now Dragon still in the middle of 2.
Everyone else, though, is dead.
Here comes Kizno. Dragon's gonna go down. We'll still get a knock up in the process. What's going on with Messages? He's looking for a tower. Hey, use that hull breaker after all. It's A-okay. He got some money, but Supernova are gonna take his life for it.
Oh, he got stunned up. He was going to try and go back, snap back, and get Trevor. Not going to be the case. Again, I mean, props to LiT for at least trying. Like, they actually found a bounty there and got an even kill, but of course, drop the Dragon. No Baron on the map to be taken by Supernova. LiT trying to run them around a little bit here. Again, at this point, look at Sivir's items, look at Azir's items. You're feeling pretty good about this game as Supernova, but good to see LiT at least utilize that hull breaker nicely.
Inhibitor down in the bottom lane. Now Supernova kind of just biding their time for the next major objective. That's going to be Baron. So they're going to do this in a very clinical way. Going to make sure they check off all those boxes as they try and take down LiT. And LiT, there's not much left they really have. I mean, if they want to try and 5v5, they don't exactly have the build for it. It's more about shoving out waves. It's more about Messages being in mid lane if they were to do that. Now they're just forced in a rough scenario where they can't even enable that. They just gotta hope a 5v5 goes right.
I mean, it's hard. It's like you still have a hole breaker on the side lane, right? So it's like you're trying to buy enough time to, in the 4v5, to like open things up for Yone, and I think they're just too far behind on the map to do that.
Yeah.
Team Messages can't even approach this wave, and he is correct. Like, there's no way.
Supernova with control of LiT's jungle. And again, this is just to wait out that Baron timer. It's 15 seconds before it does spawn, and then Supernova can start up on that objective and dare LiT to cross the battle lines.
Yeah, like Messages spots that ward, but he can't even walk up to clear it, as they just don't have bio in either of the waves. And Supernova, of course, Sivir and Azir each shove so fast, but doing a nice job of making sure those waves die and then fogging to really pressure LiT as Plucks. I don't even know if he can walk through there. Trevor's fishing, yeah.
And it's the worst inhibitor you can have down. You can see that wave building up over in the bottom lane. Forces the issue. Pluck's in a bad spot. We'll use the stopwatch. Shepherd Fate comes out, able to get it onto 2. Following through, the Paranoia music goes legendary. And Messages is deep in for the last hope of LiT in this game number 4. It is denied as Supernova will take us to a game 5.
Yeah, there's no team fight DPS from LiT that can compete with an Azir with a Sivir. They know it. They used it in game 1, and now eating their own medicine in game 4 as Supernova. Props to them, man. They're sending us to a game 5. It's not bad. Okay, Rock Boom, we're styling a little bit. I like this. Oh,
you know, closing moments. You got to make it good on the climax when you're just ending this matchup. One more showdown for Rock Boom, and one more win for either of these teams to qualify in the NACL.
Big game for Supernova. I mean, we saw LiT have a very bloody game 3 to push this one to a 2-1. A bloody game 4 gets us to a game 5. And I expect game 5 to be bloody too, honestly. I think that Azir is a big pick in this series and has to be denied because we've seen the Azir-Sivir pairing twice. And I'm very surprised. We've seen 0 Kai'Sa this series. I wonder if we see a Kai'Sa sneak in for game 5. I feel like that's a very powerful pick. Neither of our teams have played and deprioritized. That might be the difference to push one of these teams over the edge as we reach the final game.
And that's it right there. You just said it. The final game now awaits us. 2-2 apiece for both LiT and Supernova, but only one of them can take this upper bracket qualification. The other will have to fall into the lower bracket. Who's it going to be? We're going to have to find out. We'll throw it over to short break when we return. Subway, halftime refresh, and Mad Magical will join us.